had at 184 Fairfield Street in Oakland, and that is the mobile home parts with a 3-bedroom home. Again, larger living space, better condition, the commercial space is larger. Their valuation continues to come in lower than us. So we just struggle. There is many properties in Kathy's or rejection of our appeal, I guess you would say. But comparing us to a commercial property that has a mobile home isn't the same. We all know mobile homes decrease in value as soon as they're off the lot. And their size is bigger than ours, and they're not, again, the like use term seems to fluctuate depending on which way it works towards for us or against us. And that was, again, why I thought it might be productive if we all sat down and talked together. So yeah, this is all the information I have. I don't know if you have questions for me about this.
I would like to point out
Sure.
something. Woodsmith's was your comparable, not mine.
Okay. I haven't seen any comps from you and even in our conversation besides the square footage. I do have a long list of properties, but I haven't actually seen which ones you were literally comparing with ours. I had asked you when we sat down together, and that was when you had told me about the 8,000 square foot warehouse.
When you asked me what commercial properties sold.
Well, I do know what's sold because I brought in actually all the recent solds with me. I just asked you numerous times what comps you had, and you threw those at me, and that was a red flag because they don't have living spaces above them. Many of these don't have living spaces above them.
You asked me what commercial properties sold. You didn't say commercial properties with living space above them. You just said commercial properties.
Yeah, I know, it's hard. I didn't record our conversation, so it's really just he said, she said, right?
Right.
And we could go around about it. Let's agree to disagree on that matter as it is. My biggest concern here is I would love to be comped to a property that is a similar size business to us and has a similar living space. And appraisers and assessors both can adjust for the living space. So even if it's a 3-bedroom apartment that's still comparable to us, you just adjust down to a 1-bedroom apartment size.
And I do that by square foot.
Sure, yeah. So I haven't really seen the evidence myself, and I still don't in this packet, of where our valuation is coming from. Most of what is even in here is less than ours unless it's a much larger facility or a much newer facility. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
You have a unique property. It's hard to say, here's one exactly like yours, because it's not. It's just, you're very unique.
I think that's what she tried to do. Excuse me, I don't mean to jump in. I think that she tried to use the ones that are similar, and we talked about it, and I think that the Dewin property certainly is a pretty good comparable. It's right up the street, same road, everything.
Same lot size, pretty similar lot size.
Pretty similar, and that, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think, comparing it to other commercial properties, like on the corner of the country club road, that really doesn't, that's not comparable.
Not at all.
That really isn't, because that's a real true commercial type location, where this is more a rural, if you will, or.
And the East Pond Road property can't be a comp because it's a small, single wide.
It's a brand new metal building
and a brand new metal building. So, whereas again, the ones that I have provided have similar working space that they're working with. The actual commercial size is very similar to ours. There's obviously infinite number of commercial properties in the area, and that's essentially what this whole list is almost every commercial property.
Threw the book at us here.
But
I thought I'd give you something to do one night.
It was great entertainment for me, but yeah, I'm trying to narrow us down to actual properties that are, again, one-man business owners, and I say one man, but obviously they could be one woman. And then, they have a living space. Whether they rent that out or they don't rent that out, it seems rather irrelevant. It's the living space as far as using it for a comp for us. And many of these were actually lacking in living space at all. So that's what my packet is.
Can I ask some questions?
Of course.
Okay. Has anybody broken it down as to land per square foot value, commercial building per square foot value, residential per square foot value that I could look at?
We have not.
I haven't.
The way I,
That's right. By using the street number, I take it you're 3/4 of a mile or just about out of town. Have you, anybody like drawn a circle, 1.5 miles, to see what's in that area, that, which of those are comparable to, or have home occupation of businesses?
Ed Dewan would have been within 1.5 miles, I believe.
Who?
Ed Dewan is one of the first comp in here. Also in
That is
Kathy's,
the most like use.
yeah, and in Kathy's stack here, the Town Farm Road property would be another commercial one that's nearby, but it doesn't have any living space, so it can't really be a comp.
And it's industrial. It's,
It's all industrial, yeah.
Your zoning is,
zoning?
Neighborhood commercial.
they're in neighborhood commercial, yes.
how many of these are still in a neighborhood commercial zoning district?
I can't give you a number, but there are a lot of them.
Okay.
His is rural.
Like, yeah, like the main,
Jump, the trailer park place?
yes.
That I heard him mention.
But then mainly Elder Care is still just considered downtown residential, and that's a commercial property, so. And then the big use, the 99 Church Street, is downtown commercial as well.
So where do you feel, using those three criteria, commercial, residential, land value, the assessment has gone about
I think the last 2 years.
for everything or just in a certain
In
area?
the building valuation, I feel it is especially off kilter.
Okay, 'cause I tried reading the notes in the tax card and I take it they're probably blue because they didn't come out very clear. I can't, I apologize.
Really true. Well, that's why I,
You
put
put
the-
some in, and you put.
right, I put the property record card in, which, yes, they're blue,
Yeah.
so they don't,
But I was trying to
but then their
read, trying to read,
evaluation report
read
is
the
attached
notes.
to it.
Okay.
That puts everything in English.
So, I wish somebody had broken it down so that we could
It's hard to
concentrate.
break down when you have so many different quality of construction and size and square footage to break it down. I'd be more than happy to let you look at our trio pricing manual,
No.
but to break it down,
I did break down some of them. Like, for instance, the Smithfield Road, the Lovejoy's store frame built in 1978 was $51.18 a square foot. The store frame for 99 Church Street was $48.85 a square foot, so there's roughly $2 a square foot difference between the two.
The ours wouldn't have had the wood shop. The price per square foot wouldn't have included the wood shop in that original. The wood shop came later in 2004.
This is the current,
No, she's using the current one.
Oh, was
She's
she?
taking the
Oh.
square
Yeah,
footage
but
of
I think it's also including the square footage of the apartment upstairs too. So
Oh.
that's not, I don't know exactly what the store frame means, but
The
Where's the-
person you mentioned that was
This is the
a
workshop.
woodworker just down the road from you, is he single occupancy? Does he have people working for him?
he's a sole proprietor.
Okay.
All the ones the Vigu property, the Dewan property, and then the mobile home parts are all single occupant of businesses. The Vigu is an exception because each of the businesses is a single occupant.
Yeah.
The 28 Center Street, the Rogers property, is one where they have much larger, many more employees.
I'm trying to concentrate on the guy just
Oh,
down
okay.
after you, I guess, going out of town. Is he the one that lives in a mobile home?
No,
No.
no. He lives in a gambrel home similar to
But-
With
ours.
a separate garage?
Yeah.
Or separate?
With his shop is separate out back.
And lot areas about comparable?
Say that again?
Is the lot areas
Yeah.
about comparable?
Yes,
Yeah.
ours is slightly larger.
I think his is 1.2 and ours is 1.3 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here, sorry.
his has been a continuing, a work in progress. The shop area has been a work in progress on his, and he's been adding on continually.
See where it's on the lot size. Oh, his is 1.17 acres and ours is 1.3. So we're off by 0.13 acres, so. His land value was a little low comparatively too, because our land value is 35,000 and his is 30. And 0.13 acres isn't $5,000.
Does he have any deductions for wetlands or anything?
Nope. Not that I'm aware of.
I'd have to look at it, but I
Yeah,
don't know that there's
I don't
any.
think so, yeah.
But there are different values for acreage around town. They're not all valued
That's
at,
why I was trying to stay within her
right.
vicinity.
Sure.
Yep.
And to do that right now, I'm drawing a circle a mile and a half in my mind. But this other one that's just down the road from me would be the easiest one for me to concentrate on.
Yeah.
But the use difference, at least on the assessor's card, is, for the Doan is rural, and for the Lovejoy is neighborhood commercial, so that probably would be a slight variation.
Which one has the higher tax evaluation?
Probably neighborhood commercial, because that's where the business is. Ed
Okay.
Dewan usually goes to build his furniture somewhere else, and then, like he did, built the,
So he doesn't build it on site?
Usually he does, I think. he
Some-
builds his
some
shop
things he
there.
does,
He builds
yes.
his cabinets there.
Okay.
In this case, the acre home site for the Lovejoy property is 34.5 and 30 for Doan. But, with some,
Are you quoting the house lot figure
yes,
for the initial house lot?
for the, this card. But actually, the extra 3/10 of an acre that the Lovejoys have is valued at 2,300 versus 0.17 acres at 5,000 for Doan. And then there's a discount factor so that it brings it down to,
Discount being homestead?
that's 5,000 an acre, I guess, and then for the 0.17 acres, it's 850.
So it's not 5,000, it's the 850.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. The other thing I noticed in looking at the valuation card was the value of, this is
Yeah,
the historical value follows exactly along with what I think Don would agree with me was the real estate market. It was 160,000 in 08, 09.
Which was probably pretty high at that point, because that, to be, I mean, when I looked at the building, it was, you know, it was, I thought it wasn't worth anywhere near what the assessed value was at that time. I mean, you know, when, but, yeah.
boom or no boom, it was in
Yeah,
rough
and then-
shape, yeah.
And then it dropped,
Well, that's
the
because
land
he,
value stayed the same, so that's a constant.
right, that was because you had gone in at that time, right?
Yeah.
To ask for the abatement at that time. to
Yeah,
get it
yep,
reduced.
it dropped.
The big clincher on what we're looking at here is that when that wood shop went on, it was valued,
90,000.
yeah, it was a huge valuation, and it's a concrete a block foundation, there's no plumbing in it.
There was no siding, the windows
Yeah.
were used and were fogged out, still are.
Yeah.
The structure itself had sagged on the roof line significantly to the point where we had to put in wires to hold the thing together. The interior was never finished. The sheetrock was just kind of put up and never taped or anything like that. It needed a lot of work. I disagree with the valuation of 90,000 whenever that happened.
When it was originally built, it was
originally
valued way too high. But we're not arguing that far back, but that's kind of where the problem starts and where it's relevant information, because we're essentially treading water again. This property has never been worth 160,000.
You couldn't
Even
get
when
that
it,
for it.
even during the boom, it could not have been anywhere near 100. I'm talking about shag carpets, like it was a rough scene in there. So that's why we're trying to kind of correct the wrong that we feel like we've been wronged in a way.
I was not satisfied initially with the $130,000 valuation when Kathleen dropped the price, or dropped the valuation. But like I said, I thought that that was a goal that I could work towards, and one day the house might be worth $130,000. But where we come to disagreement is the last 2 years, where we have done nothing, and the house has gone up to coincidentally the exact same valuation that it was before I asked for the abatement.
Even with all the improvements that you've done, I find it hard pressed to get that price. To
Yeah,
get
from what we paid at 66,000 to the evaluation of 130 and change, I thought there was much room for improvements.
Yeah.
There
And
was-
I would also, that was kind of where this all started. Admittedly, I sell real estate, and because I do, I think I'm very realistic about the value of my home. Because we obviously run into people